So this is a problematic proposal. Some colleagues say it will never be used. Some colleagues say it's never be used. Some people say it's unworkable, so why don't we just vote for it? You know, it's just a joke, really, it'll never be used. But I take exception to government saying, even if they never use it, that it is worth driving a coach and horses through our civil liberties for mere short-term political advantage. Now, because the government doesn't have the votes, as I said earlier, the government has spent the past 10 days putting colleagues, good colleagues, conscientious colleagues, colleagues who naturally enough want to support the leader of their party and their Prime Minister, under incredible pressure. People that the Prime Minister has never spoken to in his life have been ushered into his presence twice in 48 hours. You know, I put it to the House, have some shred of sympathy for these people. People have been offered Cuba. People have been offered, I mean, you know, people, and no doubt governorships of Bermuda have been bandied about. I do not know. Any rebel backbencher with a cause is now confident, if they vote the right way, of course, that the Prime Minister will make the statement, give the money, make the special visit. It's humorous. But is it right that our civil liberties should be traded in this type of bazaar? Is it right? Is it appropriate? Is it right that we should trade votes in the United Nations on the basis of this sort of political pandering? And the reason they perhaps put that sort of pressure on people is, as I say, they don't have the votes. Now, they have only one argument which could sway me, as a member of the Labour Party for over 30-odd years, that, you know, the leader of our party is in a very difficult situation. There are elements in the party that don't necessarily wish him the very best. And this is the time to vote against him. That's an argument. It's an argument for people that are loyal to the Prime Minister and don't want to see him go, don't believe that a new leader is going to wave a magic wand. But I tell the House this. I became active in politics in the 1980s. At a time of enormous turmoil. We had the Brixton riots, we had the Liverpool riots, we had the riots in Bristol, there was a huge issue around scrap stuff, and young black men were seen as the enemy within, just as young Muslim men are seen today. And I came into politics because of my concern about this precise issue, the relationship of the state towards communities that are marginalised and suspected. And yes, it's easy to stand up for the civil liberties of your friends. It's easy to stand up for the civil liberties of people in your trade union. But it's not easy to stand up for the civil liberties of people who are unpopular, who are suspected, and who look suspicious, and every day the tabloids have some horror story about them. But it is a test of Parliament that we are willing to stand up for the civil liberties of the marginalised and the suspect and the unpopular. That is the test of Parliament. I came into politics about these issues, and I believe that if there is any content at all to ministers' constant speeches about community cohesion, we must offer every part of our community, not just the appearance, not just the reality, but the appearance of justice and equality before the law. Everybody knows that these clauses will impact disproportionately on the Muslim and ethnic minority communities. Everybody knows that we're not going to be detaining the Saudi paymasters of terror for 42 days. We will be doing, as they did under internment, scraping up the flotsam and jetsam of communities. And when they have those boys, Muslim boys, black converts in prison, and when they come to me, because it's my constituents ministers are talking about, people like my constituents, when their mothers come to me and say, some of those mothers may not even be able to speak English properly, they have my son. They've had him for 5 weeks, and nobody will tell me why. What do ministers suggest I say to them about something which has only been brought in for short-term political convenience? I did not come into politics to vote for this sort of stratagem. I will not, despite all the pressures on the party at this time, I will not vote for it. I believe that the case has not been made. It has not been made up to now. It has not been made in this debate. And yes, of course, the public is in favour of this. Of course, the people whose rights I'm also trying to defend are unpopular and suspect. But if we, as a Parliament, cannot stand up on this issue, if people cannot come here from our different ethnic communities and genuinely reflect the fears and concerns of their communities, then what, after all, is Parliament for?